It appears it's still just speculated that Trump will be indicted, if not today, then this week sometime, in the city of New York. We'll see what the charges are exactly. I'll try to walk you through what the charges appear to be right now. It's convoluted. It's a little ridiculous. Not sure. Obviously, open. This makes it the whole thing open to the argument that this is just politics and it's not really the rule of law because it is so convoluted. It probably is, given that the district attorney of New York City is Braggs. I've talked about him. He was terrible coming in on crime. I think he improved a little bit because the mayor forced him to. But this is interesting. Okay, so let's go through this. Let's go through this. This is coming out of a grand jury investigation of hush money. Hush money is money to pay somebody to be silent. And this is the case from the 2016 presidential election, where Trump allegedly, I think this is pretty clear that he did, where actually Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen, paid Stormy Daniels, the porn star, $130,000, supposedly to keep her from going public about the alleged affair. During the affair was in 2006, but the idea was to silence her during the campaign, to not have her go public during the presidential campaign. Now, Cohen alleges then that the Trump Organization reimbursed him and made other payments, ultimately to a tune of $420,000. And he pled guilty to federal charges. That those payments, along with a similar payment, Trump didn't just pay Stormy Daniels, but also to Karen McDougal, amounted to illegal campaign contributions. So he pled guilty to that. And then, according to this, Trump's company then falsely accounted for these payments by portraying them as legal retainer fees to Cohen, right? So instead of categorizing them as, I don't know what they would categorize them, hush money, they categorized them as a legal retainer to Cohen. Federal prosecutors decided not to pursue this. Bragg himself, when he came into office, when he was elected not that long ago, didn't want to follow up on this. He actually took a lot of heat from attorneys in his office who had been pursuing this case. When he wasn't excited about it, the attorneys actually resigned, left the office because he wouldn't prosecute it. But somehow he changed his mind along the road, and he is about to go after Trump. And it's not clear how, right? So first, he's going to slap Trump with a misdemeanor for falsifying business records. This is punishable by a $1,000 fine and 1 year in jail, right? But the problem is the misdemeanor carries a 2-year statute of limitations, and that's already passed. So how do you get the misdemeanor? How do you get to still prosecute him? Well, only if you can demonstrate that it was carried out with an intent to commit or conceal another crime, some kind of felony, right? So this is where the second aspect of this is, and the second crime would be a violation of either New York State or federal election law, right? The payment was intended to benefit his campaign by silencing her, and that, by keeping the story quiet, they then constitute an election campaign. So silencing Daniel helps his campaign, therefore it's a campaign contribution, which was not reported as a campaign contribution, that violates the law, and Trump falsified his accounting, and that's a misdemeanor that can now be raised to the level of felony because it's covering up this whole thing. Wow. Now, proving the misdemeanor is probably easy. They've got the checks. Everything's pretty clear here. They've got Cohen's testimony. Making the case that this was a campaign finance issue is a whole much more difficult case, right? What Trump will argue, or can argue, and probably will argue, and I think, again, with a reasonable doubt, be convincing that indeed the payment was not related to the campaign, that the payment was actually related to, I don't know, to personal damage, to protecting his wife, to protecting his kids, to protecting his family from these allegations. This had nothing to do with the fact that Trump was running for president. What this really had to do was with the fact that he didn't want to hurt his own reputation. He didn't want to hurt his relationship with his wife. All of these kind of issues. That's what really matters. The campaign was just a side issue, right? So it's the whole thing is kind of convoluted. You know, if this was a regular prosecution, yeah, you could do this, but this is a presidential campaign. This is a candidate running for president right now. This smacks from all angles of a you know, political incrimination. Although I think this helps Trump more than it hurts Trump politically. This is a legal theory connecting the misdemeanor to the campaign finance thing that is untested. It's risky. Why take on a risky case that's going to have so much publicity and that is probably only going to help Trump, and yet smacks from this political, you know, this political issue, right? From this is all about politics. So, you know, who knows what's really going on? Who knows what's really going on behind the fact? The real issue here, in my view, is that we elected a president to the United States who had an affair. Clearly, nobody. I think Trump denies it, but not really. Had an affair with multiple women, including a porn star. That paid hush money. Everybody agrees that he paid the hush money. And that this is not really a legal issue. Really what this is an issue of the credibility of Donald Trump. But really the issue here isn't even about Donald Trump. The issue here is about the people who vote for Donald Trump. I know this is very old-fashioned, but character should matter. Character indeed does matter. But what I think all of this raises for us more than anything else is what is the state of the world? What is the state of American society where character doesn't matter one iota? Where you could have somebody with as bad a character as Donald Trump has, with a nasty as character as Donald Trump has, and I'll give you another example of that in a minute, and nobody cares. Well, I do think enough Americans cares, and this is the other issue, that, you know, we always view nobody cares as the base doesn't care. Yeah, the base doesn't care. As Donald Trump said when he was running in 2016, he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody dead, and it wouldn't change one iota the view of his fans have of him. I really didn't believe that when it happened. He's exaggerating. That's not true. But it is absolutely true. You know, people who love Trump, don't care about, don't care about character. They don't care about, and they love Trump. So they're blind to everything else. So everything else is, is okay. You can do anything. It doesn't matter. If it's Trump, it's okay. They become completely blinded. I called this the mindless Trump syndrome, or I think that's what we called it. Mindless Trump syndrome. It's an attitude that is completely and utterly mindless when it comes to talking about Trump. Yep. Anyway, so you can see that on display with his supporters with regard to this. So there's nothing really that interesting in the story, other than, again, the very fact that the fact that we've known since 2016 that Trump can get away with anything, the most vulgar, offensive, pathetic, ridiculous behavior and things, and he can get away with it without, right? Without any problems. Thank you for listening or watching the Yaron Brooks Show. If you'd like to support the show, we make it as easy as possible for you to trade with me. You get value from listening. You get value from watching. Show your appreciation. You can do that by going to yaronbrookshow.com/support, by going to Patreon, Subscribestar, Locals, and just making a appropriate contribution on any one of those channels. Also, if you'd like to see the Yaron Brooks Show grow, please consider sharing our content and, of course, subscribe. Press that little bell button right down there on YouTube so that you get an announcement when we go live. And for those of you who are already subscribers and those of you who are already supporters of the show, thank you. I very much appreciate it.